Hey folks, the Landstryder here. Welcome back to episode 20 in my Regrowth series. This pack's available on the Phoenix launcher and is made by Phoenix Lodge. And I apologize for just kind of cutting off in the last episode, but I was way over time and I realized there's no way I was going to fit all the rest of this stuff into one episode, so it had to stretch into this episode, episode 20. And I definitely want to get it done this episode. I want to get the train done because you know what happens on my 20th episodes in my single player series. I release a world download, so I want to have this train in that world download for you guys and all done and ready to go. So let me try to explain best I can how everything's working so far, and I went with the simplest system I could possibly come up with using the parts available. You can get much more complicated with this stuff. You can get extremely complicated. So we've got some signal blocks. This is the basic, most basic block in the signaling family of blocks. These are the main things. What these do is they will define between two of these. So one over here and this one right here defines a stretch of track that is monitored by the signals. And when there's something on the track, so right now I've got the engine on the track, you can see that they are red. So that means that there's something on the track, and red either means that the thing that's on the track is not moving, which is the case here, or that it's moving towards the signal. So this signal at this end, if this was in motion, this would be red. And this one, instead of being red, would be yellow, because it would be moving away from the signal in the area. So over here, this signal block is attached to one many chunks over that way, and is monitoring all the track in between. There is not anything moving on this track. The reason I think that it's yellow is because there's unloaded chunks, and it says, well, there might be something on the track in the unloaded chunks, but it can't tell, I guess. I don't know. Not sure why it's yellow. I think it might be a bug, possibly too. But anyway, this monitors that track. So when this one's red, I know that there's a train coming down the track towards the station here. If it's yellow, which it is right now, I can assume that there's something moving away from the station on the track, possibly, or that there's the part of the track's unloaded, and it can't determine that there's anything in that area. The other signal light that you might see is green, which means that the track is completely clear. So those are the three states, the three normal states of it. There's also blinking yellow and blinking red. I don't know when those show up because I haven't seen them, other than when you first or when you're binding it to different things. So you use, let me come in here. You use these tools. I built one of these compartments. I made the diamond compartment. Discovered that the iron, what is it, the iron compartments? Well, I'm talking about compartments real quick. Compart, not chem. Compart, there they are. Discovered that when you go into the diamond upgrade, from copper, it expands the tabs so that you get twice as much tab space. So you get 50 slots per tab at that point. Iron is 4 tabs. Gold is 6 tabs, and diamond is 8 tabs. So this will allow me to store 400 items. Nice. This is a super nice compartment thing. So decided I would need one out here for all of my train bits, pieces, track, signaling parts. I got a couple left over. We're going to need to make some more and such. Routing bits, different tools. Okay, so these right here is what I want to talk about, tools. By the way, Trackman's goggles. Oh, well, maybe I didn't use them right. I was about to say they didn't work, but maybe I didn't use them right. Maybe I gotta like set an aura. What do I gotta do? Set. There we go. Anchor. Current aura. Anchor. Current aura. Tuning. So I don't think I was using them right then. Okay, because when I put them on earlier, they didn't do anything for me. So now, oh, look at that. They do work. They do work. I can see these little trails of stuff going between the signals and the control boxes. And that's to help you indicate, or help you to figure out how things are connected. And that one's connected way down there and is so far away that it's not going to send a signal. Okay, cool. Well, they do work. You just have to shift right click to change the mode. Tracking. Okay, what's tracking? What's that? Whoa. All kinds of auras going on. Wow. I don't know what the heck is going on there, but there's all kinds of stuff going on there. I'm tracking something. Maybe I'm tracking myself moving around. That is interesting. Okay. Don't know how that works. Oh, yeah, because I was up on the roof there a little bit. Yeah, this is actually where I've been walking around. That's cool. So you can track another player or something. Track yourself. See where you've been. Then, yeah, none. Okay, so those do work. Okay. I was about to tell you they didn't, but obviously they do. I just wasn't using them right. Okay, so put that back in tools. I don't need it right now. I don't think it's going to help me visualize this too much because there's so much going on already. It's kind of just more confusion. So the signal block surveyor allows you to link. I might redo one of this little area right here at the beginning here. So the signal block surveyor, when you click on it, you see it starts to blink yellow. That means that I'm trying to link it somewhere. This one should in a moment. And what I want to do is there we go. Successfully defined the track. So I just redefined the same bit of track that it was already looking at. I should here give you a little visualization help with this. So these signal survey blocks, whenever you put them down, obviously you can actually put them directly on top of the track. Like you can put them up to 3 blocks above the track. I think 3 blocks. Yeah, 3 blocks above the track, and they will work. Usually, you're going to put them above. You can also put them right below the track. One block underneath the track. You can put them underneath the track, and I think you can lay track on top of them. Let me try that. Let me just try that, see if that works for the signal block. I know that it works for the signal boxes, all the different boxes. There's a lot of different boxes that do different things. Let me get some regular old track. Let's see if I think I can place on top. No, can't place on top of the signal, that thing, but you can place on top of the receiver, the other boxes. And there is one of these guys, these box right here. See these box, the controller box. Not the controller box, but there's one that actually acts like a signal block that you can put underneath the track. So if you wanted to hide them, you can hide these signals fairly well. So what I wanted to do is basically show you, kind of give you a visualization of this. So if I change that to something that I'll get back when I break it, because interesting thing about these technical blocks is some of them, like the transparent ones, when you break them, you don't actually get them back. Pretty much just like glass. So you don't want to be wasteful of them. So what I can do is basically where this signal is at, it looks around for track in this area. So if there's track that crosses any of these blocks, it would detect that track. So if I had a signal down here, let's pretend that this block is another signal, and we had some track coming down this way, right? I could link that pretend signal with this signal, and it would scan, and it would recognize this bit of track, because it crosses its detection zone. These blocks in the ground here represent its detection zone. So while this is invalid, right, because it's not hitting the detection zone, this is perfectly okay because the track enters its detection zone, and it would register this bit of track from this spot right here to right here as the block, as the signal block, the area. Okay, and like I said, this can be up to it can be up to like 3 blocks above. So if you want, you can put it on a pole. You can put it directly over the track. That works. You can put it directly over the corner. I can put it as far back as, let's see, as far back as here. Whoa, that's cool. Hitting it with the chisel there, changing blocks. So I can put it back there, and it would still work. It was, you know, as long as it's in that area, and the track crosses one of those detection directions, because it just basically goes out a few blocks from each other. Okay, I think I've said enough about that. Hopefully that was clear. There's a few pretty good tutorials out there on the web if you're looking to figure that all out, that go into extreme detail on how all these work. So let's talk about the other blocks. Let me get that one back and fix my hole. Yeah. And these are much these signal things are much easier to break with a crowbar than the pickaxe or anything else. Not the case for the track. Track's easier to break with pickaxe, but the signal blocks and switch motors and control boxes are easier to break with a crowbar. Okay, so we've got a couple different control boxes here. Let's start with this one right here. This is a signal receiver. So this signal receiver right here is receiving the signal from this block signal. So whatever this is, see, it's got a yellow on it right now. The little dot on there is yellow. Now, yellow would normally mean that there's a car moving away, so which would be okay. What this is meant to do is it's meant to stop any train temporarily. So if there's a train sitting here on the track, or there's a train inbound to the station, any train attempting to leave the station will get stopped. Right now, it wouldn't get stopped because there's nothing on the track. So this is lit up. This locking track is lit up, and it would allow a train to pass and head out. It's going to come down through here, hit this, which is always going to send the track that way, because you see the little corner is always sent to send that way. Now this one over here is a little more complicated. This right here, I had to set up all of this stuff right here basically to detect when I'm in the car, when a player is in the car, when the player train. Now you might notice that both of these have, let's say, 1 over top of them. That is because if you look in here, there's a golden ticket with a destination of 1. So I have them both set to go out to the oil field, the oil spout of 1. I'm just going to name them 1, 2, 3 for now. And maybe I'll come up with more creative names later, or if I have actual destinations. But for the oil spouts, I'm just going to name them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and etc., etc. Anyway, so when a player, when I'm inbound, when I'm coming into the station, I don't want it to stop me. I don't care if there's a car there unloading or not. I don't want this to stop me, and that's what this one is for. This locking track here is basically if one of the 2 tankers, I'm going to have 2 tankers, one of the 2 tankers comes in, is headed towards the station, and the other tanker happens to be sitting here unloading, which is why I have these 2, this block signal right here. This block signal is connected to this receiver. See, it's red. It will only emit a redstone signal when it's green. So basically only if this track is clear will this allow a train to pass here, a tanker train. Now when the player train comes in, I'm gonna end up crossing this detector. This detector is a player detector, And that spot indicates the direction that it's going to send a redstone signal. So it's going to send a redstone signal into this redstone, momentarily turning on the lock, disabling the locking track just for a moment. And it's also going to activate this controller box. A controller box can be bound to either a signal, which this is not. This is not bound to a signal. Its default aspect is green, and it's looking for a redstone aspect. So it can also accept a redstone signal from, anything. So when it receives a redstone signal, it sends the red aspect instead of the green aspect. So normally it's sending the green. When it receives a redstone signal, it sends red. So that is connected over here to this signal receiver. That's the control block. It sends over here to the signal. You can use the control blocks to basically expand the number of connections to a signal block. So a signal block can only be connected to one receiver. Doesn't matter what receiver it is, it can only be connected to one. But a signal receiver box can have up to 4 signal controllers connected to the sides of it. Now, if this was connected to a signal receiver, the signal receiver would trump the redstone signal. I think that's how that works. It will send the more restrictive signal based on the 2 signals it's receiving. The redstone signal or the so I guess not so much trumps, but whichever one is more restrictive that's the one that's going to pass between the redstone and the receiver box that it's connected to. But using the receiver box and the controller boxes, you can expand the number of connections to a signal single signal box. I had to slow down there for a second. In order to control many other things. I don't really need to control too many things. I just need to control this right here, the switch motor. So when a player comes in, comes across there, it's going to detect that player. It's going to send a redstone signal to that controller, which is going to pass that red signal over to here. So red signal. See, it's emit redstone on a red signal, on a red aspect. And this thing right here is a capacitor box. Basically, all this does is extend that redstone signal for a number of seconds, just to make sure that by the time that I reach this switch track, it hasn't unswitched. So it'll stay switched for 5 seconds. It's probably much more time than it needs to be. But I figured just in case something slows me down in that short period of time, like if that kicks on and kind of slows me down, hopefully that wouldn't lock me up. But anyway, I tested this part. It works. So that turns on the switch motor, and then a player train gets diverted over here. So player gets diverted over here, where I have a disembarking track, which kicks me out of the train before I end up coming up onto the player detector. So if I'm in the car when the train hits the player detector, it's just going to keep on scooting on through and continue back out to the destination again. So I didn't want that. So that kicks me off, and then the train stops because it's a locking track. Now both of these, I believe, yeah, these 2 tracks that the trains are sitting on, you can't see it because they're sitting on them, are in locomotive mode. These are just regular locking. Let's see, there's locking, there's train holding. Yeah, those ones are both in train holding, which basically means when it receives a redstone signal, it stays on for a few seconds to make sure that the whole train has a chance to pass the locking track before it turns back off. That is boarding mode. I don't know how that one works exactly, but I don't use it. I think that how that works is if you're using just carts. It would, when a player got in it, it would immediately turn a redstone signal on and kick you off in that direction that it's facing. And then there's train boarding mode. Okay, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to these modes, but I do know what standard locking mode and train locking mode do, so that's what I'm using. And same with this one, locking. This is standard locking mode, because it's all dependent on redstone signal. When redstone signal comes along, or when redstone signal hits it, it switches and allows a train to pass. Ooh, okay. Hopefully that explains this end. We're going to go up to the intersection up there, and then I'll try to explain how I got that set up. So yeah, this basically, all these control boxes and this signal right over here prevent the trains from colliding. So while I have a train unloading, another train can't come into the station unless it's a player train. Player train can still come into the station. Yeah, it should work. I just thought, well, I lost my train of thought there, because I just thought of a potential disaster, but it would only involve if I was moving around the track with both of the engines. So I might have to figure out how that works. You guys might pick it out later when I show you the rest of the tracks. So I need to do, what do I need to do? I need to make some stuff, actually. I need to make these things right here, world anchors. 2 of them, because I'm going to have 2 trains, and you'll see, I'll understand this here in a second. The other thing I need is some tank carts. Tank carts are made with iron tank valves and mine carts, and these hold 32 buckets apiece. Do they stack? Yeah, they do. Cool. And do they stack in 3s? Yeah. And I need a total of 4 of them. No, they don't stack in 4. I need a total of 4 of those for the 2 trains. And then the other thing I need for the 2 trains is I need these anchor carts. These anchor carts are what's going to allow the train to function outside of the range of loaded blocks that I load while I'm here at the base. So they will allow the train to continue on all the way to the destination of the oil spout. And once they get to the oil spout, the world anchor will allow that to continue to work until it fills up the car. It fills up the tanker train. So let's put that together. One of the things that's going to happen immediately, you see that this redstone signal kicked on. That is because these are set to the empty mode, and now they have an empty tank car above them. Actually, something else I need to do is I need to tell these only empty tank cars. Yes, only empty tank cars. And these over here, these loaders, these are set to only fill up steam locomotives, just in case I had something else on the track that they could potentially fill up. And I brought up my better barrel from downstairs. This was completely full of coal coke when I brought it up. I upgraded it with a, let me just show you here, pull it out. I upgraded it with a structure upgrade and a hopper upgrade. And I put 2 hopper facades on either side so that it would automatically fill up these 2 cart loaders. I don't have any filters on these because the only thing that should ever end up in there is coal coke, and that coal coke's going to get loaded into the locomotive while it's sitting on the track beside it. So see, full of coal coke, and the liquid loaders are going to, I should change this too to only engines. Do I have another engine here somewhere? Yeah, I do. I'm going to make another engine. Good. Because I want these to only fill up steam locomotives. I don't want them to attempt to fill up any tank cars that happen to be that go underneath them. They will when them tank cars get pulled underneath. They will attempt to fill them up, and might even end up with a few millibuckets of water in them, which just kind of mess up the whole system. So I don't want to do that. But now I need to connect these up. So start a link, shift right click on the train, and then shift right click that and link it to that car. There we go. While linked up, one more car in this train will be ready to go. All I will need to do is now load this with some ender pearls so that it will continue to load chunks when I'm not close enough to it, and the train will keep moving because of that. Woohoo! All right, Ender pearls. Yeah, they're up here, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, a stack of them. And this should last a long time, like several real life days of keeping this working. So I don't know that I would ever need to put more in there. Probably eventually, depending on how much longer in real days that I play this map. Okay, we're now loaded. Those are ready to go. I think now I did run a test to see if I would need to load water and fuel at the other end. Definitely do not need to for the first location. When I get other locations that are further away, I might need to set up another water tank out there, and possibly possibly refueling stations, but I don't think so. So let me talk real quick about these guys. These rail tickets, real easy to make. Real easy to make. Just a gold nugget and a piece of paper. It gives you a ticket, and if I take it out, and if I think it's shift right click, yeah, shift right click opens it up for editing. And when you first open it, it says destination equals, and there's nothing there, and you just put whatever destination you want there. Destination 1, done, and then it's now destination 1. And you can put it in the train. So way out at the intersection, we're gonna go out there here in a second. Actually, let me go ahead and turn this on because I think we're ready to go. Hopefully I got everything right. So set that to running. It'll start burning fuel. It's going to generate some heat. When it gets up to 100 degrees Celsius, it'll start generating some steam. And at that point, it should take off and head towards the first place, the first oil spout that I'm going to be taking down. Okay. Next thing I wanted to mention real quick is how to work with those destinations. So I'll put together. I want to get it, like I said, I want to get both tanker cars running and everything before the end of this episode. Yeah, but this is gonna be like the whole episode talking about this train stuff. I hope you guys, I hope I'm getting it right and you guys are understanding how this works, because it took me a while to kind of fully grasp everything. So to make a routing table, car thing that you use to route. First, you start by making a book of quill, and then you add something blue to it, lapis will work, or any other blue dye, and you'll get a routing table. These things have a pretty good help file built into them. You just click help, and it'll tell you all about how it can work. You can use and operators or and not operators, and then you have different conditions like the destination and the owner. The owner of the locomotive is not necessarily the rider. The name, this would be the rider. So if so you could route based on who's in the train. Type. I'm not sure how that works. Something to do with like if you're just using cars or something like that. I think. Condition. Oh, rider. Okay, wait. Entity name. Oh, the name is. Oh, you can custom name your cart. Sorry. So I was wrong on that. That actually is if you have a custom named cart, minecart or locomotive. Rider is the condition for the person that's actually riding the train. Ridden is basically just a true-false modifier, whether or not there's a player riding or not. So I could have used that for routing, but I didn't. And let's see, color. You can route based on the color of the locomotive, because locomotives can be colored, different colors and stuff. Needs refuel. This is a good one, because if you have fueling stations, you can basically divert it into the fueling station using this if it needs fuel, and then if not, it can just go right on by. And then redstone, basically if the routing blocks are receiving redstone or not. And then, like I said, you can combine all of those conditions using operators and or not. Okay. Woo. Okay, but for my purposes, it's going to be very simple. Very, very simple. Destination equals 2. That's all I'm going to put for this one. And you'll see here in a second why. So the train took off. It's headed out that way. Now it's going to end up at the first station, the first pumping station, number 1, the oil spout out there. But it's not ready. It's not all set out there. I got to do a few more things I need to do out there before it's going to start filling up with oil. So we're going to head out there here in a second. After I sleep off the nighttime, because I don't want to go out there in the dark. I had a real scary incident while I was out there building the scaffold for the oil rig. I almost got knocked off into the oil. And if you go into oil, you can't swim out of it. You cannot get out of it. You can't swim at all. You can't swim up. So I'm going to make this thing right here, the ring of chlorodata. That is going to allow me to, if for any reason I end up in the water or the oil, it'll allow me to breathe, basically, live, until I can get out. It's also going to allow me to like really swim fast in this water too. It's like, ooh, I can swim. You see that it uses up mana for refilling your oxygen bar, but it's well worth it. You can actually move pretty fast underwater with it. Okay, and it allows you to see underwater really well. So well worth making. Totally going to use this instead of the diving suit that I made last episode, but I needed to make that for the quest and stuff. So, and I wanted to see just how good it was. It wasn't that good, so this is much better. Chlorodata. But yeah, I wanted that before I head out there, because if I get attacked and end up in oil, I do not want to die. Alright, so now we see that since this cleared the track, those 2 lights are now green. And this is now on because it says, okay, well, since there's nothing in that section of track, trains can go ahead and enter the station to get unloaded. All right, so as soon as well, first of all, I need to get this running. We need to heat that up because I want it to get some steam and get running before I actually am ready to head out there. I am going to leave my extra locomotive here because I don't have the track built for it yet. Cars. There we go. Train cars. Put all that in there. And as soon as this has built up some steam pressure, I'll jump in it and we'll head off that direction. And what I'm going to do, it's a long journey, so what I'll do is I will just set it to 4x speed up as soon as I head out that way, because otherwise I think it's like maybe a minute or 2 ride. So you see that now that it's using up a little bit of the water turning into steam, the fluid loader is trying to keep it full, coming down, filling it back up as soon as it uses a little bit. Almost full on steam. I wanted to have full steam before I jump in it, so I can get maximum speed. All right, there we go. We're ready to go. Let's do it. Woo! We're off. Okay, I idled the train down just past the lava pit there on purpose because I wanted to get out and show you this intersection before I went through it. Alright, we can see that this is the other signal block that is connected to that one way back at the station. The one that was showing yellow when I thought it shouldn't. But right now it's red because, yes, there's definitely something on the track in between. And these are the routing switch motors that I was talking about. This one, I think, shift click, there we go, has my routing table in it. This is the one that just says 1, destination 1. This one is just going to say destination 2. There we go. So whenever a train with a ticket of destination 1 comes up to this intersection, this switch motor is going to quickly switch it over and go this direction. If it doesn't say 1, if it says anything else for the destination, it's going to let it go straight on by. Now, when a train of destination 2 comes up close to this switch motor, it's going to switch it and tell it to go over this way, right? Which is the one that isn't completed yet. So I'm gonna do that probably off camera. At least run the track anyway, because that's boring. And then the other, yeah, destination 2. Okay, yeah. So, and this signal block is connected to this signal receiver, which sends redstone signal based on these things. So it'll only emit a redstone aspect on green. Actually, that should be green or yellow. Yellow? Can I change it? There we go. Green or yellow. Yeah, that should be okay. Actually, no. Actually, that would prevent the thing I was talking about happening earlier if I leave it just on green. Yeah, because that way, if there's a car way down there sitting waiting to go into the station, this will prevent that from allowing the cars coming down this direction. So cars coming down this direction, coming back from the oil well, you can actually see a bit of the oil well there in the distance, the scaffold and everything I got set up. It's not too far down that way. The other one's a bit far that way. So train coming down this way is going to go straight. There's no control here. Basically, this just basically allows cars coming this way to go straight. Cars coming this way get shunted that direction. So cars coming this way go straight, and it's going to stop right here if there is a car on that section of track, that long section of track back to the station. So it's going to get held right there until this section of track is cleared. Once that section of track is cleared, this will turn green and allow the next minecar or the next train to go this way. This Y track will always, it doesn't matter which way it's switched. When a car approaches it this way, it's going to get shunted that direction. When a car approaches it from this direction, it's going to go that direction. There shouldn't be any circumstances in which a car approaches it this direction. But if it did, you can see that it would always go that way unless it was switched. And if it was switched, it would go that way. But I'm not using it as a switched control. It's basically just to anything that's coming in this way goes that direction. Anything coming in this way goes that direction as well. So, okay. Whew, hopefully that's all explained. Oh, well, there's actually a bit more to explain here. So, yeah, this one controls whether or not it allows a train coming down from one of these two sideways. This one controls whether it allows it onto this section of track or holds it until it's clear. This controller, or this receiver, and this signal block, which is connected to a signal block down there at the oil pumping station. This signal block is connected to this controller. So if there is a car on this track, section of track, it's going to hold that car. And the only time this really should actually apply is if what am I trying to say? If the tanker car is coming towards me on this track and I'm on my way to the oil rig, it will hold the player right here until the tanker car goes by, and then it'll allow it by sending a green signal. So and it'll also send a yellow signal. So if I'm following the tanker car out, this would turn yellow as soon as the train goes by, which doesn't matter. So if I'm following it out, I can keep following it. There's no problem there. So if it's yellow, it'll allow me to go by as well. The only time that it'll stop the player is if it's red. So then it'll turn off, and that will prevent the player from continuing on. So all right, let me get back in the train car. This is basically going to be mirrored on that side. You can see that I have the locking track there, etc. Basically mirrored. I just had to have this little bit of a shunt, zigzag, offset. That's what I'm trying to say. I had to have that offset just to make everything work. Now, let me get back in my train, and it should still be idling, so it should have lots of power. All I got to do is say, go, and it's going to take me the rest of the way. I'm not going to speed this part up because it's not that long. You're going to see here in a second, it's going to route me right through there. There we go. So the router detected that I have the ticket of destination 1 and sent me this way. And now it's going to be dark again because I took all that time explaining that. I wanted to get out here when it wasn't dark. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to have to deal with some mobs. Oh well. Hopefully they won't knock me in the oil, but even if they do, I took precautions. Okay, so here we go. We got another player detector right here, which sends a redstone signal to this switch motor. And not just basic redstone controlled, that's switch motor. So when a player comes in, and this is just a matter of timing, that this switches this just temporarily to force the player car to come this direction. Player car comes this direction, and of course this switch track is going to allow it to go straight. And this one disembarks me, kicks me out, so that I don't, just flip right around. Basically, I have the same setup over here where I have a player detector and a locking track set to train mode. Okay. This signal receiver is connected to, this right here, to this signal block, which is connected to the other signal block down there. Now, each end of the signal block can be connected to one controller without issue. So when this one, and they're gonna act a little bit differently. So when this one is got a train coming towards it down the track, it's gonna be red, and when it's got a train exiting the pumping station, it's gonna be yellow. So over here, this one again is similar. So if it's green, it'll go ahead and allow the train by. And if it's yellow, it'll go ahead and allow the train by, because yellow would mean that I'm just following, that the player car is just following the tanker car, or vice versa. The tanker car is following the player car, which is either of those are acceptable. The only thing I need to worry about is when there is a car inbound, that's going to be red, and that's going to prevent the tanker car or the player car from going on and getting onto this track before, basically a head-on collision prevention is basically what that's going to do. Okay, so we can see I got an oil rig. I made it out of scaffold. I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool indeed. I need to make some facades and stuff just if I want to keep it. I don't know. Oh, I can't put those. Ooh. Mobs all over the place. I can't put these on there. Well, that's okay because these will freestand. Aha. There we go. That works. I like carpenter's ladders. They freestand. Okay, that and that's why I've made this texture, so I can put that texture on there. Oops. Don't shift click. It will place it instead of applying the texture. These bits and pieces of the see, and that's the kind of stuff I was talking about. See, it must knock me off. And if I would have fallen in the oil, that would have been very dangerous. There we go. That looks like a rusty old ladder. It really does. It really does. Whoops. Okay, so the last thing I need to do. Oh, I hope I did. I hope I brought some parts. I only got 3. Okay. Let's see here. I need a solid bit, I guess. There. And then if I put a lever right there, those will start pumping. Okay, and then I need to do it on opposite to get these two going. Those should start pumping. I used an emerald, so this should allow this pump to export its oil faster. Am I going to need to... Okay, I was about to say, it should be pumping some oil by now. There it goes. Pumping oil. Over to these two fillers. And they are both set to force full. Only this one's the only one that really matters, because this is the one I have the redstone controls connected to. And basically I just made a redstone trail down to that locking track that's also set to train mode. Oh my goodness. Look at all these bad guys. Okay, I wanna see this work. Okay, there it's filling up some oil. Probably should watch from up here. So yeah, I think this is working. So yeah, I just need to build the other one. I guess I'm gonna do that off camera because I've probably already at my time for this episode. Probably already spent a good period of time on this. I hope you guys liked the way this looked. I thought it came out pretty good with using the transparent scaffold and stuff. And I was thinking that if I could turn that transparent scaffold into a facade and have the buildcraft pipes going through it, that might look even cooler. So I might try to do something like that for the other one. I guess if you'll either have to wait till the next episode or download the world, because at this point I think I've explained how this works. The other end's going to be basically the same thing. The only thing is it's just going to look a little different because of the way the land is laid out and where the position of the oil is and the way the train approaches it. That's going to be a little bit different, but same materials, same operations as this, the same block signals and such, and pretty much it's going to be all the same. So no point in showing that again. Now that I showed how it works, I'm waiting for this to fill up. I really want to see it fill up and then take off, and then I want to follow it to make sure that all works. So I'll just be back in a second. As soon as this takes off, I'm going to show that. I'll just watch it from this angle. Just got to keep an eye out for snipers so they don't knock me off. Those little guys. They went no oil. Okay. It's almost done. You can see it's pumping oil out pretty good. Once the redstone engines heat up better too, it'll pump faster. And they'll stay heated up because as soon as the train leaves with its loader, and I leave with its loader, they will basically unload, but they'll keep their state, so they'll stay heated up once they get heated up. Oh, looks like they're almost full down there. Make sure this works. As soon as that front one gets full, it should take off. There it goes. And it went right by the lock track. And okay, there we go. And we're going to follow it. We're going to follow it in. Oh, running. Oh, I didn't have that in locomotive mode. Dang it. Here, hang on. Oh, idle that down so that it doesn't take off on me. Okay, good thing I found this before yeah, so see this locking track was not in train lockdown mode. Whoa. Was not in train lockdown mode, which means that like as soon as the locomotive cleared the track and I was no longer on the player detector, that it locked onto the cart that I was in. So I don't want that to happen. So what I want is for it to stay on for a moment, like when I get in. So this one's in train locking mode. Yeah, that one's in train locking mode. Now that one's in train locking mode. It should be good again. I gotta make sure that I do. Oops. I make sure that I do that at the other end when I build that one. So when we get in there, turn back on the running, and we should continue on. All right, we're good. Now, if a mob does happen to get in front of the train, he got me with the potion. Bummer. If a mob does happen to get in front of the train will do a massive amount of damage to anything in front of it and kill it. So what happened here? Oh no, no. Okay, then I got an issue. Oh, I see what happened. So that gosh, I need to hit that track without. Well, here, I know what I can do. I'm gonna turn mine on idle down, and then I'm gonna give it a redstone signal there. Let that one go on. Okay, so what I should have done here is also had these in train locking mode. That way the train does have enough time to get by it. Now, why is this not? So what's going to happen now is if I try to go forward, turn back on running, it's going to stop me because this isn't green. Now, with only one tanker car running, I could set this to yellow. But when I have two tanker cars running, I probably don't want this set to yellow, to emit on yellow, because what could happen is I could run into the back of the second tanker car if it's sitting down there waiting for the first tanker car to unload. And also what could happen is I could end up actually having a head-on with the car down there. So I think I'm going to leave it on yellow. So once the car makes it all the way into the station, it should turn green again, hopefully. If we don't have a bug, we might have to set it to yellow. Alright. This is gonna be back in a second once this. Actually, I'll be back once I reach the station. I'm not gonna show you that, and I'll just let you know whether or not I had to change the settings on that. Okay, didn't have to change the settings. It did turn green. And then as soon as I entered the track, it turned yellow again. Awesome. Working great. Alright, back in a second when I reach the station. Alright, back at the station. You can see the train's ready to head out. But it had to wait until I came in. And there it goes. And now it's headed out. Excellent. Excellent. Cool. Very cool indeed. So yeah, everything worked out pretty good. Now is this unloading? Is this unloaded? I believe. So if I go downstairs, I should have some oil in my tank downstairs now. And that will continue to run the course, collecting oil from the rig out there and bringing it back and delivering it, yes, to my oil tank. All right. So just slightly under 64 buckets, because remember, it's only detecting that front tank, so the back tank didn't quite get 100% full, but that's okay. It'll eventually clear out all that oil from that spout, and then that will be an abandoned oil rig at that point. We'll extend the train out further to a new destination. But now I need to get the second. I need to get the second oil rig done. Need to run the track and build all that, so I can get this world download. So you guys, that will be in the world download. The second location, and I will take all my stuff and put it in a chest right out here in the yard. Like all my inventory and stuff, I'll put that in a chest out here in the yard, and get the world download for you for episode 20, guys. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. I decided I'm keeping that tree, by the way. If if anybody said cut it down, it's not happening. I'm keeping it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I've inspired you to do something with Traincraft. There's a lot more things that you can do with controllers. There's more complicated controllers and control systems. This is just a really basic anti-collision system that I set up to allow multiple trains to run on the same bit of track. A little sad that that this setup doesn't seem to be doing like what I thought it should. I might have to figure that out. It seemed to work in my tests, but it's not seeming to work in my world here. But it's a train. It moves pretty fast anyway. So, and if you did like this, be sure and leave a like, a comment, and thumbs up. Tell all your friends. Tweet it out. Yeah, and be sure to check me out on Twitter if you want to interact and have a chance to vote on things that I tweet out, stuff like things about like the tree, and you'll get to see like pictures of, I do screenshots of builds sometimes, so you get to get a little preview of that before the episodes are released. So, till next time, I will catch you later.